It's the year 1503. Portuguese ships led by the brave explorer Afonso de Albuquerque arrive at the coast of Cochin, a busy port city in the Indian state of Kerala. This was a big moment in history, marking the start of European colonialism in the area. Wanting a share of the valuable spice trade, the Portuguese quickly built a strong fort. They named it Fort Emmanuel after their king. It showed everyone how powerful and ambitious they were. Fort Emmanuel, right on the waterfront, wasn't just a military base. It was a symbol of Portuguese power and their impressive engineering. Built with local laterite stone, the fort had strong walls, huge towers, and looked very impressive from the Arabian Sea. Inside, soldiers, traders, and officials lived and worked, their lives connected to the ups and downs of trade and diplomacy. The fort changed Cochin's history, making it a center of Portuguese influence. From Fort Emmanuel, Portuguese traders went out to control the trade of pepper, cinnamon, and other popular spices that were very valuable in Europe. At first, the Portuguese and the local ruler, the Maharaja of Kochi, helped each other. The Portuguese wanted to stay safe and get rich, so they tried to be friends with the Maharaja. The Maharaja saw a chance to become stronger against his rivals by working with the powerful Portuguese. Fort Emmanuel became a sign of their friendship. Inside the fort, Portuguese traders set up shops trading silver, cloth, and other things for spices, which were very important for trade in the Indian Ocean. The Maharaja, happy to see this trade grow, gave the Portuguese special trading rights, making their friendship stronger. But the fort wasn't just for trade. It also helped spread Christianity in the area. Portuguese missionaries came with the traders and soldiers, seeing Cochin as a good place to convert people. They built churches and missions inside the fort, with support from the Portuguese king, who thought spreading Christianity was important for his colonial plans. In the 1600s, things changed in the Indian Ocean. The Dutch, a powerful seafaring nation, challenged the Portuguese. Their ships started taking over the spice trade. The Dutch East India Company, formed in 1602, was very strong, with many trading ships and warships that threatened the Portuguese. In 1661, the Dutch took Colombo, a major Portuguese base in Ceylon, which is now Sri Lanka. This weakened the Portuguese a lot. 2 years later, in 1663, the Dutch attacked Cochin. After a long fight, Fort Emmanuel fell to the Dutch, ending Portuguese control in the area. The Dutch made the fort stronger, adding their own style to it. They also made it a busy Dutch trading center. The Dutch East India Company wanted to control the spice trade completely, so they took charge of the pepper, cinnamon, and other valuable spice trades. In the 1700s, another European power came to India, the British. The British East India Company, at first focused on trade, slowly became more powerful. They took advantage of the weak Mughal Empire to take control. The British and Dutch fought each other in Europe and in the Indian Ocean, both wanting control of important ports and trade routes. In 1795, during the Napoleonic Wars, the British took Cochin from the Dutch, making their control of India stronger. Fort Emmanuel, once a symbol of Portuguese and then Dutch power, now had the British flag. But the British didn't care about Cochin as much as the others. The spice trade became less important, and other ports like Bombay, now Mumbai and Calcutta. Now Kolkata became more valuable to the British. As the 1800s ended and the 1900s began, Fort Emmanuel was forgotten. The British, busy with other places, didn't take care of the fort. The once great fort, damaged by weather and time, started to fall apart. When India became independent in 1947, Fort Emmanuel was a ruin. The walls, once full of soldiers and traders, were covered in plants, and the towers, once full of cannons, were empty. The fort's decline was like many other colonial buildings in India, left to decay after independence. After independence, the Indian government saw how important Fort Emmanuel was and tried to save it. The fort became a protected monument and was repaired. Today, Fort Emmanuel reminds us of Cochin's interesting past. Though smaller than it once was, the fort still looks impressive, its old walls telling stories of Portuguese ambition, Dutch rivalry, and British rule. Fort Emmanuel is more than just an old fort. It shows how European colonialism changed India. The fort's construction started a new period in Indian Ocean history, where European powers became very strong. The fort's story is a small example of what happened all over India during colonial times, changing friendships, fierce competition, and finally, British control. It also reminds us of the mixing of cultures as European architecture, religion, and trade changed Indian society. Even though it's old, Fort Emmanuel shows us the building styles and military engineering of colonial times. The fort's design, with its thick laterite walls, strong towers and large gates, shows how the Portuguese built forts in the 1500s. The Dutch added their own style, making the fort even stronger. The British didn't change the structure much, but added buildings for their offices. Fort Emmanuel has seen a lot of history. Its walls have seen empires rise and fall, cultures clash, and the lasting impact of colonialism. It's a place where you can almost feel the past, hear the cannons firing, the traders talking, and the missionaries praying. The fort's preservation means future generations can learn from the past, think about the complicated history of colonialism, and appreciate India's rich history. Fort Emmanuel, once a symbol of foreign rule, now shows India's strength, its ability to overcome its past, and its rise as a strong democracy.